Born on the 21st of March, 1980, in Porto Alegre, Brazil, Ronaldo de Assis Moreira, better known to the world as Ronaldinho, grew up in a footballing family. His older brother, Roberto, was also a professional footballer, and like so many Brazilian greats before him, Ronaldinho's early years were far from privileged. However, what he lacked in wealth, he more than made up for with the unconditional love and support of his family. With both his father and brother deeply involved in the game, it was no surprise that his passion for football ignited from an early age. By the time Ronaldinho was 7, he was already showcasing his talent on the streets and beaches of Porto Alegre. While he saw football as pure joy, those around him recognized something extraordinary. Even as his older brother was making a name for himself in youth tournaments, their father had already spotted the real star in the family. He would tell the neighbors, "You can praise my eldest all you like, but just wait, my youngest is the real genius. He's going to be the best in the world." At the time, Ronaldinho's father had already retired from football and was working as a welder, though he remained a passionate supporter of Brazilian football. When Roberto secured his first professional contract, it was a turning point for the family. They were able to leave behind their modest home and move to a better neighborhood. A moment that made young Ronaldinho realize just how much football could change lives. What he didn't yet know was just how much he himself would go on to change the game. Tragedy struck a year later. Roberto returned home from the U20 World Cup with Brazil to the devastating news that their father had passed away from a heart attack. From that moment, as the eldest son, Roberto took on the responsibility of providing for the family. Thanks to his sacrifices, Ronaldinho was able to focus entirely on his footballing development. Before he made his name on the pitch, Ronaldinho honed his skills in futsal, a game that demands exceptional technique, quick feet, and razor-sharp footballing intelligence. It was in these tight spaces that he developed the breathtaking flair, control, and creativity that would later define his career. At just 13 years old, he stunned the Brazilian media by scoring an astonishing 23 goals in a single match, leading his side to a 23-0 victory in a local tournament. A young boy with a mop of curly hair and an unmistakable gap-toothed grin, he was already drawing attention from scouts and coaches across Brazil. It was during this time that the nickname Little Ronaldo first emerged, an early sign that the world was about to witness something truly special. At just 18 years old, after more than a decade developing his craft in Grêmio's youth system, Ronaldinho made his long-awaited debut for the first team. Over the next 4 years, the Belo Horizonte crowd, and indeed all of Brazil, became mesmerized by the sheer magic his feet could produce. It was at the 1999 Copa America that his dazzling Samba football first captured the world's attention. His breathtaking performances not only helped Brazil lift the trophy, but also earned him a move to Europe just 2 years later. His destination: the City of Lights, Paris. Even on the grand European stage, where pitches were vast and defenders unforgiving, Ronaldinho played as though he was still in a futsal hall, weaving through opponents in impossibly tight spaces. His artistry on the ball was nothing short of theatrical, leaving fans, commentators, and even opposition players in awe. The French public, never ones to hide their admiration, showered him with applause and praise, recognizing that what they were witnessing was not just football, it was performance art. One move in particular became his signature, the flip-flap. Originally pioneered by Brazilian legend Rivellino in the 1970s, this technique was one of the most dazzling tricks in football, requiring exceptional agility and close control. But for Ronaldinho, the magician, it wasn't just a move, it was a statement. He reinvented the flip-flap, executing it with such fluidity that it became a global phenomenon, inspiring an entire generation to try and emulate his magic. By 2002, Ronaldinho's older brother, Roberto, officially retired from football at the age of 31 to take on a new role, managing his younger siblings' off-the-pitch affairs. Meanwhile, Ronaldinho continued to enchant fans across France, delivering his weekly dose of footballing sorcery. But it wasn't just the flamboyant skills, the tricks, and the dazzling footwork that defined him. When it came to the basics, a chipped pass, a delicate lob, or a set piece, he executed them in a way that was unmistakably Ronaldinho. One moment, however, transcended everything else. The 2002 World Cup quarter-final between Brazil and England saw Ronaldinho produce a moment of pure genius that left the world in awe. His outrageous free kick from over 40 yards out caught the legendary David Seaman completely off guard, looping over the goalkeeper and nestling into the net. Many assumed it was a fluke, an overhit cross that just happened to dip perfectly. But Ronaldinho say no. I don't know how many times I've been asked this question. But even if you ask me 1,000 more times, my answer will remain the same. I meant to shoot. Ronaldinho's 2 seasons in France left an indelible mark. 17 goals in 55 appearances were enough to spark a transfer battle between Manchester United and Barcelona. In the end, Catalonia won his heart. Ironically, David Beckham was originally the player Barca had set their sights on, even agreeing a deal with Manchester United. But when Beckham opted for Real Madrid, the club swiftly turned their attention to Ronaldinho, a decision that would prove to be one of the greatest in their history. His €25 million move in 2003 would not only transform Barcelona, but redefine an entire era of football. At the time, Barca were in freefall, only 1 trophy in 4 years, and earlier that season they had even flirted with the La Liga relegation zone. The arrival of Ronaldinho changed everything. After his debut match, Frank Rijkaard himself admitted, "This boy has something special." From the moment he stepped onto the pitch, Ronaldinho's electrifying dribbles and hypnotic footwork sent shockwaves across Europe. Whether in La Liga, the Champions League, or even in football-obsessed England, his playing style transcended rivalries. He was a footballer nobody could hate. Every touch of the ball carried echoes of his futsal and beach football upbringing. He didn't just play football, he danced with the ball. One match stands out: Barcelona versus AC Milan, up against Italian defensive icons Alessandro Nesta and Andrea Pirlo. Ronaldinho toyed with them. He weaved past Milan's defensive giants as if they were training cones, turning the San Siro into his personal stage. He wasn't just running, he was orchestrating a carnival with the ball at his feet. Ronaldinho loved to entertain, perhaps even more than Neymar does today. And those watching, they never had time to hate him. By the time they processed what they had witnessed, they had already fallen in love with him. Nothing summed up his magic better than El Clásico at the Santiago Bernabéu. That night, Real Madrid's fans, yes, their own fans, stood up and applauded him. In the most hostile of arenas, where hatred for Barcelona runs deep, Ronaldinho had done the unthinkable. He silenced the rivalry. He made them forget the battle, the bitterness, the tension. All that remained was pure admiration. Under Frank Rijkaard, Barcelona embraced an attacking philosophy, giving their stars the freedom to express themselves. And no one thrived more than Ronaldinho. The summer of 2004 saw the arrivals of Samuel Eto'o and Deco, kickstarting a golden era for the club. In 2004, he finished 3rd in the Ballon d'Or, voting behind Andriy Shevchenko and Deco. But in 2005, there was no debate. Ronaldinho was officially the best player in the world. It was a recognition he more than deserved. A crowning moment for a footballer who had inspired millions with his sheer joy for the game. With Ronaldinho leading the charge, Barcelona danced their way to European glory. The Champions League was conquered. Barca had returned to the summit. By the time Pep Guardiola took over, the squad underwent a transformation. Their victories restored faith in Catalonia and laid the foundation for a new golden generation, Messi, Xavi, and Iniesta, to carry Barcelona forward into the next decade. Ronaldinho's legacy at the Camp Nou wasn't just about goals or moments of genius. His greatest gift to the club was the growth of Lionel Messi. A magician with the ball, Ronaldinho's most defining trick wasn't a skill move. It was helping shape the rise of La Pulga. Today, Messi stands as Barcelona's ultimate icon, not just in the present but for the future, inspiring generations to come, just as he once learned from those before him, especially Ronaldinho. But like so many Brazilian stars before him, Ronaldinho was both a magician and a maverick. His love for football was matched only by his love for life. And as the years went on, his carefree lifestyle became a problem. Pep Guardiola, a strict disciplinarian, demanded discipline and commitment, qualities Ronaldinho by then struggled to maintain. As a result, he was gradually pushed aside, and after 5 unforgettable years at Barcelona, his time at the Camp Nou came to an end. When AC Milan welcomed him in 2008, there was still hope that he could rekindle the magic, but old habits die hard. His nightlife antics frustrated Carlo Ancelotti, who struggled to get the best out of him consistently. Yet, even in this period of decline, flashes of brilliance remained. When Ronaldinho played well, he was still one of the best in the world, capable of changing games with a single moment of genius. In 76 matches for Milan, he scored 20 goals, winning the 2010-11 Scudetto and proving he could still be decisive at the highest level. Yet, for all his achievements, there was always a lingering sense of what could have been. Brazil never stopped loving Ronaldinho, but they never stopped wondering what was lost. Had he been more disciplined? Had he sacrificed the nightlife for the training ground? Could he have achieved even more? When he eventually returned to Brazil to play for Flamengo and Atlético Mineiro, the love for him remained unshaken. Even though he could no longer glide past defenders with the same ease, his presence alone was enough to fill stadiums. He was no longer just a footballer, he was a legend, an icon of joy. When you play football, you must be happy. If you're happy, your family will be happy too, his brother Roberto once told him. And Ronaldinho took those words to heart. He always played with a smile, and when he smiled, the world smiled with him. His joy was infectious. His football was art. His presence on the pitch brought happiness to millions. He made fans fall in love with the game, not with trophies or statistics, but with its purest, most beautiful form. In 2018, he officially retired, bringing an end to a career that captivated the world. But in truth, Ronaldinho will never truly leave the game. His legacy lives on in every young player who plays with freedom, in every street footballer who tries a trick, in every fan who remembers the magic. Some players are remembered. Ronaldinho will never be forgotten.